Welcome to this auspicious occasion. We are all celebrating together. And without further ado, I would like to give the microphone over to Smita Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhattare. Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskacharya Sata. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur-Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, we come here, it's a unique, it only happens each 50 years. There's a 50 years anniversary. And anniversary of such an auspicious occasion as Srila Prabhupada's visit to Sweden, 1973. And now it's 2023, huh? Yeah, right, thank you. Time takes its right. This is good when someone keeps the microphone. So, yeah, okay, we're just happy to meet me, Aristaha, and Janmanalaya, maybe specifically, what was Yogindra, or kind of representing the movement, or not the official movement, it's more the spiritual movement. So I'm happy to see you. Well, I thought I was going to say, well, maybe more will show up during the day. But I expected maybe more to sit here, but a welcome from my side, a welcome to all of you. An opportunity for us, for the elders, to submit or share our experience of Prabhupada, 1973, and ongoing. So, Hare Krishna. Welcome, and I wish a good start and continuation of this meeting, that it can fulfill its purpose. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhattare. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste. Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskacharya Satarine. Because I'm Pujari, so I should welcome all my God brothers and God sisters on behalf of Panchatattva, the deities. We're very happy to see you here together on this very auspicious occasion of Srila Prabhupada. He was here 50 years ago, and we were also there 50 years ago. And I'm so happy to see you, and I think everybody is happy to see you, and Srila Prabhupada is also happy to see you. So I can only, I don't know what to say, but welcome is like, the temple is like eternal, is the spiritual world, Prabhupada said, Vaikuntha. I don't have that realization myself, but it is a spiritual place, and devotees are purified and spiritual, and therefore we maybe should try to see Almviks Gård in that light, and also try to see each other in that light, in that spiritual light. So it's very nice that Yogindra Prabhu, Janeshwara Prabhu, Sripada och Prahlad Palaka organized this very nicely for the pleasure, Srila Prabhupada for the pleasure of Panchatattva and for the pleasure of all the Vaishnavas. Jai, Hare Krishna.
Okay, I also welcome everybody. And I actually want to welcome my friends, because we grew up in Krishna conscious together, and you're very dear friends to mine. Without your association, you know, one doesn't know. Like I just told Vegavan, who, you know, when I came to Heidelberg the first time, when I met the first devotees, you know, this was Shivananda and then also Prithu, you know. And Prithu, you know, I was on the way to India, and Prithu said, "India is here," you know, and Prithu is so very convincing in his, you know, when he tells you things. But I don't want to. The whole concept and the whole idea was actually Yogindra's. He came up with that need, you know, that we want to celebrate Prabhupada's visit here in Sweden. So I want to give it to Yogindra.
Hare Krishna. Well, thank you all very much for coming and blessing us. Now we see it's mainly us here, but soon there will be a mass of guests coming. The kitchen is busily in preparation for about 200 guests. So we're having kind of a internal beginning here. Janmanalaya mentioned that I had this idea a long time already. Actually, it was a number of years ago. I wrote to Pranava Prabhu, who was at Stockholm University together, and I asked him if it would be possible. It would be a dream come true if it could be so that the university, we could have a program there in hall number 6 in the C House. And by hard work of Pranava Prabhu, you know, backed up, of course, by Ajita, was also intimately connected with introducing from the academic point of view about devotee scholars who are connected with Srila Prabhupada, and also with the support of the dean, Susan Olson. They managed to get a large grant from the National Bank Fund for Research to initiate a collaboration for a new direction in the study of Indian religions. This is a historical development, and it was wonderful to be there. And if I closed my eyes there in the hall on Wednesday, I was thinking maybe I'm in the Holy Dham, and then open my eyes and see that this is Stockholm University. It's like a dream come true. But okay, that was the preparation, and then we had Janmashtami and Vyasa Puja. Yesterday we had a wonderful Harinam there in Uppsala, which happened to be the culture night, and we were, you know, chanting and dancing and passing out prasadam and books there on the street there for 3 hours. So now we're starting here with the actual reunion, and today will be the public program. Tomorrow will be especially allotted for that you all who are here in 73, you can simply be together. Of course, if you want to speak with guests, that's entirely up to you, naturally, but tomorrow there's no obligation, but rather the idea is that be together, and you know, it's for you, the day tomorrow. I would just like to now remember those who really wanted to be here today, but for some reason or other they could not come. For example, this is not in order of importance. I'm just, you know, reading off a list here. We have Bhakti Vaibhav Maharaj, who really wanted to come, but he was grounded by his doctor. You may not move, so he is unfortunately not able to travel. We have also Bhakti Gauravani Swami, the author of Veda Vyas, who's the author at that time, Vegavan, whose book is presented there. And if anybody who's interested in having a copy, you can contact Vaichanath Prabhu. But
that book has one chapter dedicated to Prabhupada's visit in Stockholm, 1973.
Chapter 13, a successful week in Stockholm. One thing though, Ajita Prabhu, when I think it was in connection with the passing of his father in Västerås, he was going through his old things, and by grace of God, he found the flyer from 1973. So there we have, black and white evidence for the schedule of each day where Prabhupada was, and also, that he was factually at Stockholm University. It was the sixth, Hall 6 and the House C. All that, evidence was there. So the book, not a criticism, but it goes after the Veda base, which is a little inaccurate about what happened when. But anyway, the book is, I don't want to make a critical analysis here. The book is very, very nice. But the details may be slightly inaccurate. We have a little bit later information on that. But that's Bhakti Gauravani Swami. He's in Bulgaria there with his obligations. So I hope that he is on live streaming. We had sent an invitation. I don't know if Abhirai got anybody on there, but they're invited to be here during this slot. Shruti Kirti, of course, was Prabhupada's servant when he was here, and he wanted to come, but he's attached to being in Vrindavan for Janmashtami, so he opted for that priority. And we have Gaurachandra Prabhu, who lives in Los Angeles. I never met him. I think he's originally from Portugal, but he was here in '73. And actually, he was the one who arranged that the psychiatrist who happened to live in Spånga, and was an old friend of him. He contacted him and invited him to come, and then he was introduced to Prabhupada and had a very nice conversation with Prabhupada there. So Gaurachandra, he really wanted to come today, but he could not come. And we have Purajit. Purajit is not really well. I don't know, you know better than me, but I just was in contact with his daughter, and she explained that he actually was in contact with us directly. He wrote a short response and just was very respectful, but his daughter explained that actually due to health reasons he wouldn't be able to come, unfortunately. And then we have Harinamananda, who I hope is with us streaming now. Abhirai, is that a fact? Harinamananda is on streaming? You don't know. Okay.
He's on, but his camera and microphone is off.
Aha, I see. Okay, but he and Shilpakarini, I was very, very hopeful that they would come. They were very important to me when I came to Stockholm in 1976, in the aftermath of, following the opportunities and trailblazing that you all did in '73. I, by Krishna's grace, came in '76, and Harinamananda and Shilpakarini were there then and very supportive to me. But he wanted to come, but wanted and wanted not. But in any case, he tried to be online here today. I hope that if he's hearing, then I offer you my humble obeisances and thank you very much. And then it was Madan Mohan Mohini and Shivananda, and they are there in Prabhupada Village in North Carolina, and they're fully engaged in the service of the deity there and had no opportunity to get a substitution, and so they could not come. We were in contact with Janeshwar Prabhu was in contact with Dina Sharna Mataji, And Chakravarti was, of course, a major player here in 1973 for the German Yatra, right? And but they could not come. They apparently had other obligations. Hari Krishna Das from Holland, he really wanted to come, but he had some very important work to do this week, and we spoke on the phone latest on Tuesday, on Monday. Monday we spoke on the phone, and he was promising me he would come. As soon as he could get himself, unentangled from his work there, and then he would come. He would immediately just book a plane or train and come. But it didn't happen. So I can understand that there were, he became involved in something. Now, finally, that's the ones on my list who we had contact with. But I'm wondering about who the other ones who I couldn't get any contact with. Like, yeah, could you show the picture? Where is Mukunda? Can you put up the picture there? Could we remember the actors from 1973? And if anybody would like to make a thanks or a remembrance of any of these important players here, then, please do so. Of course, we have in the center Srila Prabhupada, who is the be-all and end-all of this introduction of Krishna consciousness in the West, and now in Europe, and now specifically here in Sweden.
We're going to have a presentation, and you're all welcome to move to this side.
Oh, one I forgot to mention, Bhaktibhushan Maharaj pointed out that I forgot a very important actor was Sachinandan Swami. He really wanted to come, but he's writing, he said he could not come. But he did send a number of very nice herbal tea bags, which we put in the guest house yesterday. So if he was thinking of us. Okay.
That's what I wanted to say. My brother Sachinandan Swami is on the pictures, but I also talked to him last Sunday. He's very busy writing his new book, and he couldn't come. Yeah. I didn't know about the tea bags.
So we're waiting for the picture from Sponga in 1973. But would any of you who were there in 73 like to mention? Oh, actually, we also have another one who's Gård Narayan. Yeah. Gård Narayan was Lale Yederstrand. He was there in Sponga in 1973 and for Prabhupada's presence, but he and his wife Sham Mohini, they just went to India last Tuesday and they could not come. We must not ever also forget our Atma. We have Atma Nivedanam, I shall call him, whose wife here, he passed away, I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. Time is going. But we have his wife here, Ashalata Mataji, and he was there at when Prabhupada was present in 1973. So let us not forget him. Who else do we owe a word for?
Boomadev. Boomadev. Do you remember Boomadev? Well, he's in the picture there. He's from England, but he's now living in America. So I just thought.
Who else?
Vishwadevi with the red hair and 4 braids. Vishwadevi was there. Himavati Hansaduta, he passed away in 2020. Yeah, he had cancer.
3 generations, and this was him, his son, and his grandchild, a daughter from his son. So he couldn't come. He was too busy.
Yes, we have another important actor. It's yes. I only met him once, very briefly, in 1976. But it's Krishna Dasa from America. We had very early contact with Prabhupada in the late '60s, I think. And he has Swedish background, I think, doesn't he? His father.
No, his wife. Krishna Dasa is there with the Madonna at the left there, and his wife Indrani is furthest to the left. On the left side. She is one of the triplets, Swedish girls that joined. They were, and she was married to, and is married probably still, with Krishna Dasa.
You can see on the left lower portion of the picture with the dark colored Mridanga, that is Purujit Prabhu. And Purujit was there, and he's now living in Germany and with his wife and daughter near the Abenteuer Temple. But he's very ill. He's lost enthusiasm to live, actually. And his wife has cancer, and he himself had like a couple of heart surgeries, and which left him totally incapacitated. So Purujit he used to be the cook at the Schloss Rettershof. And he was all the time the cook and the Mridanga player, you know. And I don't know if he's on the picture. Is Utal there somewhere on the picture? Okay. So Utal, you cannot see him there, I don't. But Utal, he just recently left his body in Australia. I don't know what the cause was. He was also from Hamburg.
You know that Utal passed away, huh?
Yeah, I just said it. I just said it. He left his body. Utal and Atmavidya were best friends before they came to the movement. And I'm the one telling the story, but actually maybe Atmavidya can tell it. But they were going to go on a ship, right? And then the ship sank because they decided later to go and become devotees. Maybe he can tell the story.
Yeah. See, this is Devarkesh Prabhu. He is originally from Hungary, but he came to Sweden as a refugee, later became a devotee here and even took sannyas, Bhakti Dayal Swami, but he died in a car accident in 1996. And this is Ikshvaku Prabhu. He lives somewhere on the west coast of the US, in a forest home. He works as a carpenter, builds houses and so on. Ikshvaku Prabhu, he was like the Sankirtan book distribution leader of the early days. Ikshvaku. Then we have here Her Grace Mridani Dasi. Mridan. She lives in Antwerp, Holland. She's married there.
We were in contact with her. I forgot her also, sorry. But she was too ill and could not come. Yeah. Yes. Mridani, yeah. Yeah, we were in contact with her.
I was hoping to meet her in Bangladesh, but then I learned that she's living near Antwerp.
And this is Havirdhana Prabhu. He was at one time husband of Mother Surabi. They went to Australia together. He's still in Australia, Havirdhana. Too far for him. And this is Uktai Prabhu. He was the son of a policeman and later became one of the leaders of the anti-sect movement in Germany. You know, picking out all the negative quotes from Srila Prabhupada's writings, Uktai Prabhu. And this is Mother Mani Manjari. She died in the year 2000 of diabetes. She wouldn't accept insulin as treatment. She would also only use natural medicine and died in a sugar coma, diabetes coma in 2000. Yeah. This is Prasanta from the Hamburg temple, Prasanta?
Munich.
Munich.
He was in Munich,
right? Akshara Prabhu here. Akshara, he lived in US but has also died. And this is Tushta Krishna. He later even took sannyas but left the movement later. Pritu Putra, yes, thank you very much. Yeah, Pritu Putra, yes. And that's, at that time, this is his wife. I don't know if...
No. Vishwadevi was his wife.
Uh-huh.
Vishwadevi is next to him. Let's see. Yeah, next to the Madanga.
Uh-huh.
I think.
Okay. This is, of course, Pradyumna, Srila Prabhupada's Sanskrit editor. He traveled with Srila Prabhupada. And that is Ram Mohan Prabhu. Ram Mohan. You remember Ram Mohan?
Yes. The Shross in 76.
I was traveling on a bus with him.
Okay.
On the right to Ram Mohan is Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes.
Well, that's Hare Krishna.
I want to do the Dutch ones, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you do the Dutch ones. There are more I don't really remember.
He wants to say something.
You were mentioning Krishnadas. And he was a very important person for Prabhupada's coming, and he helped arrange a lot of things. I met him just recently, 2 years ago, and then 2 years ago. And then I spoke to him, and we have a conversation just a month ago, something like that. So he's coming to Sweden quite regularly, actually. And when he comes next time, we're going to meet up. And he usually does it in the form of long walks. So I'm hoping to participate in a short walk.
This is Jagadev. It's an elder brother of Hare Krishnadas. And their elder brother was Swami. This is Anga Prabhu. He passed away.
What's his name?
Anga. Oh. And they came with us to Holland. This is Panchamukha. I haven't heard from him since 1975. American. This is Mrigupati, one of the biggest distributors of Holland. He was from England. He passed away too. This is Tulsidas Prabhu. He started the Sankirtan book distribution in Holland. In 1973, we had 11 devotees living in the temple when I joined. And in 75, due to his being fired up, we had 80 devotees, and we moved to the Herengracht. Atmananda came with us. He's from America. And this is Gård Chandra. He was also in Amsterdam at that time. And I think this is Mahavijaya Prabhu, the Italian one. He passed away as well. He was a big book distributor, became a sannyasi and then left. And this is Bhumadev, by the way. That's the Dutch devotees, or who joined.
I can't see Narendra. Where is he?
Here's the thing. Narendra is
by the pillar.
Oh yeah, of course. No, there. That's right. Narendra. Yeah, well,
became an Islam.
Yeah, exactly. Did you say Surabhi,
Jagadev in the middle.
And Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna was the youngest. He joined when he was 17.
Okay.
He preached to me.
Yeah.
And Jagadev was the president when I joined.
All right. Good.
Right, there's also the United Pillar.
Yeah.
On the left side.
Narendra is also there behind the pillar, Bhakti Bhushan Maharaj. Yeah, Nahabikrama Nashtosi Pratyuvaya Navidyate Swapam Api Asya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat. Krishna is very, very grateful. He's unlimitedly merciful. And whatever little service we may have, that anyone has done, they will never be lost. But on the other hand, Krishna is Bhava Grahi Janardhan. Even though we may not be able to physically perform what we would like to do for Krishna, even the emotion or the thought of having the interest and desire to serve Krishna, he takes that. So let us be very grateful to Prabhupada that he's given us this opportunity, and remember that all these great souls who did so much wonderful service at great personal sacrifice in the early days, we're very, very indebted to them, and may Krishna please be kind upon them.
If anyone wants this picture, I have a picture of this picture on Facebook with numbers on them, with the names. Atmavidya Prabhu, he provided all the German names, and so if you would like the picture, then please contact me. Hare Krishna.
Are you going to show the other pictures, like the morning walk and stuff?
Yes, they're just now coming. Okay. Now, can you explain the next? Yeah. Rimati's question was, what about all the other pictures? So now, can you explain the next point of the program?
Just one comment. The German devotees, you see, they're all white. You know?
Yeah.
They were all dressed in white because Hansaduda was in white. And we were all Hansaduda fans, you know.
That wasn't the real reason. Can I answer? Now, Hemabadi, she explained it to me. She said, all these boys are so young boys and they don't know what the color means. So let them just wear white. And then the Grihastas, they are supposed to wear yellow, but the yellow didn't go over very well. But so everybody just wore white.
I asked Smita Krishna Swami about the video where he is coming, when Prabhupada comes down from the plane there in Arlanda on, September 73, and then Smita Krishna Swami comes forward in a white dhoti and garlands Srila Prabhupada. And I'm asking him, well, Maharaj, you were a brahmachari. Why are you wearing a white dhoti? And you know what he told me? Do you remember what you told me?
No, but I remember something. I thought it was Hemavati and Asaruta. I thought it was too bothersome to dye the material, so just let them be white. And
this is a waste of energy and time and money. Dye costs money. You just wear white.
That was one of the main reasons. We tried to save money, but we didn't even have the money. So
I remember we came to Mayapur, all the German devotees, all dressed in white. So they thought, there's no brahmacharis in Germany?
No, I thought Maharaj wanted to say more. Sorry, I was pointing to Maharaj. I thought he wanted to say more.
I wanted to say there was something more, but in any case, it flew out of my...
Okay? Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So, the next part of the program, Mukunda Prabhu has made a nice presentation, and I guess you can present it yourself.
Hare Krishna. So, thank you very much. It's a very, one can say, special honor. I'm very grateful to be able to present this to you. It has been very special for me. I was requested to make a presentation about Prabhupada's Day in Stockholm. And I learned so many things
just by being absorbed in trying to present this for you. So actually I have the beginning of the presentation. I don't have time to present today. It's about the first Swedish devotees, Lila Shakti, who joined in England 1969. And then I have a presentation about Smita Krishna Swami, Vegavan and Ajita Prabhus, and also speaking about Padmavati and Krishna Premi. So I don't have time for that now. Time is limited, so I will directly now focus on the week when Prabhupada was in Sweden. So I think I just start. So, thank you. So Srila Prabhupada arrived on the 5th of September, you see here, 1973. So he was here, you see the week there. He arrived on a Wednesday, the 5th. And according to the Vaishnava calendar, it was a special day. It was Radhastami. So Prabhupada, in the morning, he gave a lecture in London at the birthplace temple in front of Shri Shri Radha Londonishvara. This lecture is recorded, so you can listen to it. And after the morning program, Prabhupada took a 2-hour flight to Stockholm. So Yogindra Prabhu mentioned about when Prabhupada arrived, and I will show you now a short film clip. It was in the Swedish news in the evening on the 5th of September in a Rapport, Swedish news magazine. So we will see Prabhupada descends the airplane. And Shuddhakirti Prabhu was there. We see Smita Krishna Swami is putting 2 garlands here on Srila Prabhupada. And here it looks like a temple, but it's actually the whip launch in the Arlanda airport that devotees had arranged like this, with the Vyasa sound from the temple. And here Srila Prabhupada, he gave an arrival address. Yeah, Vajjanath Prabhu. So what I have done now is I have picked out 3 short sound clips from this arrival address by Srila Prabhupada. And I also put in text there, so it will be more clear to see. So we will hear Prabhupada now directly addressing the Swedish people.
I thank you very much for your kindly receiving me. This is the first time I am coming in this country, Sweden. This Krishna consciousness movement is spreading all over the world gradually. It is little difficult to understand the purpose of this movement because it is completely on the spiritual platform. Generally, people do not understand what is spiritual platform.
So Prabhupada is saying it's a little difficult to understand the purpose of this movement. And as we know, Narottam Das Thakur, he says, Goloka Premadan Harinama Sankirtan, that this Sankirtan movement actually is directly imported from the spiritual world. So Prabhupada, as he said, it's completely on the spiritual platform. So then Prabhupada, he goes on and he's speaking about what is actually required if we want to understand deeper the purpose behind this movement. So we hear now Prabhupada continues.
First of all, we have to understand this distinction between the spirit, soul, and this material body. If we can understand what is that spirit soul, then we can understand what is the spiritual movement. What is the spiritual life? Complete freedom. Complete freedom. Eternity, blissful and full of knowledge. That is spiritual life. Completely distinct from this bodily concept of life. Spiritual life means eternity, blissful life of knowledge. In this material life means non-permanent, ignorance and full of misery.
So Srila Prabhupada says that first of all, if we want to understand this moment, we have to understand the difference between the soul and the body. And so then he's asking himself this question, what is actually spiritual life? And he's answering it, it's complete freedom. Complete freedom. Eternal life, full of bliss and knowledge, completely distinct from material life, which means non-permanent, full of miseries and ignorance. Now in this last sound clip, Prabhupada speaks about the Hare Krishna mantra. He is always so practical. So now if you want to actually realize what this moment is, then he offers the process, the practical process.
There is process how to understand. The process is very simple. If we chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is not very difficult task. There are only 16 words. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Actually there are 3 words, Hare Krishna and Rama. So we are simply requesting the people that he chant this mantra. It is not very difficult. And if you chant this mantra, then gradually your heart will be cleansed. The whole thing is that due to our material association, we are contaminated, cannot understand what is spiritual life. But if we take advantage of this mantra, then gradually our heart will be clean and we shall be able to understand that I am not this body, I am spirit soul. Then real awakening will come.
So after the arrival address, so the devotees took Prabhupada to the Sponga temple, about 30 minutes drive. And here we can see the house, the temple house. So Prabhupada, the first meeting he had actually had 2 meetings the first day. The first was with the Indian ambassador, Mr. Damodar. And they spoke about many interesting things. But one thing was about politics and about what is actually a secular state. Prabhupada said that it's a duty of the government to say that people are not becoming degraded, that actually they are advancing, becoming purified. And Prabhupada here now gives a short definition. What is actually a secular state?
Secular state means neutral to any kind of religion. But it is the duty of the government to see that people are religious. Not that because government is secular, let the people go to hell.
No, that's true.
Yes. If you are Muslim, it is my duty as government to see that you are actually acting as a Muslim. If you are a Hindu, then it is the government's duty to see that you are acting as a Hindu. If you are a Christian, it is the government duty. You cannot give up religion. Dharmena hina pasubhi samana. If people become irreligious in the name of secularism, then they are simply animals. So it is the government duty to see that its citizens are not becoming animals. That is secular state.
It's amazing how intense program Prabhupada had. First, as we said, in London, giving the lecture, giving the arrival address, coming to the temple, meeting the ambassador, and next, just 30 minutes after this meeting with the ambassador, he met one Swedish Indologist, Sanskrit professor, Dr. Carl Sunesson. And you can see here a photo of him taken around that time. He was 32 years old when he met Prabhupada. And special person, he knew many languages like Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, Tamil, Chinese, and even more. So here we will hear now a short sound clip when he's addressing Prabhupada.
You belong to the Chaitanya?
Yes. Yes. We have translated Chaitanya Charitamrita.
What?
Yes. So you know Bengali?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
It sounds in Hindi and Bengali, Tamil.
That's right.
Yeah, do you recite this also, Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think you could do a little?
Yes.
I would be very interested.
Yeah. Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu Sri Krishna Chaitanya Tahar Charanasrita Sei Baro Dhanna Purbe Gurbadi Chai Tatte Koila Namaskar Guru Tatta Kahiyachi Ebe Pachero Vichar.
So these are verses from the 7th chapter of Adi Lila, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. And Prabhupada recited 57 shlokas for Dr. Sunesson. And he was just sitting there, listening. And so they had very interesting conversation. Of course, you can hear all these lectures. It's so wonderful. They are still available on the internet. After some time, Dr. Sunesson asked Prabhupada, do you chant kirtans? And Prabhupada said, yes, of course. And then he asked, could you do some kirtan? And Prabhupada arranged for the devotees to play kirtan to the professor. And then after that, Prabhupada said, so you are a bhakta? And Dr. Sunesson said, no, I'm just studying it. I'm fascinated by many things, but I'm not a bhakta. But Prabhupada, he was like really trying to encourage him, and he said that you are, there are so many scholars, but you actually wanted to hear kirtan, that means you are a bhakta. So, and then he asked, did you like the kirtan? And he said, yes. It's very unusual to hear this in Sweden, he said. And then after some time, more conversation was taking place, and then he asked, do you sing also hymns in Sanskrit or Bengali? And Prabhupada said, yes, we do. And then he brought out his harmonium, Srila Prabhupada, and he was singing for the professor one of his favorite bhajans, Hari Hari Vifale, and he translated it for the professor. Then he got some prasadam, he got Prabhupada's garland, and then he left. So that was the first day. Now we come.
In addition here, Ajita Prabhu distinctly recalls that off the record there was a group of Buddhists who also came to Sponga that day.
Oh, really? That day, same day. Okay. A group of Buddhists.
Prabhupada spoke to them. He said, we should form a society where we don't even meet. A kind of Buddhists, us, and you.
How nice. That's confirming Ajita Prabhu's undocumented memory that there were Buddhists visiting Prabhupada on that very intensely busy first day. Now Bhakti Bhushan Maharaj recalls even that what Prabhupada spoke to them. So that's a fact.
Joy. Thank you.
And their organization was Buddhismens vänner, Friends of the Buddhism. That's what the name of their organization.
Thank you. So now we come to the 6th of September, and Srila Prabhupada went to the Stockholm University, but that's in the evening. So first he had a morning program. Mangalarti was there every morning, and Srila Prabhupada was reading this week from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, Lord Rishabhadev's teachings to his sons. And so he lectured from the first verse this morning. So, Nayam Devo Deabhajam Niloke, Kashtam Kaman Arate Vibhudyam Ye. So Prabhupada, he said that both in daytime and nighttime, people are working so very, very hard. And what's the goal of all this? So he said, simply sense gratification, that's all. And then he gave an interesting example. He said, like yesterday, I was going from London by air to Stockholm, and on the airplane, he said, there was one person very, very busy. He was making different kinds of calculations, and he was completely absorbed in it, and he was working so hard. So Prabhupada just gave that as an example. And so what is the aim of all this? Simply sense gratification. Yogindra Prabhu spoke about this invitation card that Ajita Prabhu found at his parents' place. And I will show you now this invitation cards. It's about the program from the 6th to the 10th of September. And here you see, this day now, 6th, they go to the university, 7:30 p.m. And then next day, Friday, we come to that zone. Prabhupada and the devotees went to Uppsala University, 2 programs there. And so then on the 8th, there were, it says the Transcendental Parade, that's Harinam. And there were 2 public lectures, that's on Saturday and Sunday, in the old kårhouse, Gamla kårhuset in Stockholm. And then on the 10th, Prabhupada gave a lecture at Sigtuna Stiftelsen, Sigtuna Foundation. So we will all come to this, but here you can see the program we found. So Prabhupada went to the university, and he was reciting shlokas from the 7th canto, you see here. And he was, it's about Prahlad's instructions to his demoniac schoolmates. And he said, I'm actually choosing this verse or verses because this is a university. So it's fitting like that. So Srila Prabhupada spoke about Srimad Bhagavatam, that it's the essence of the Vedic literature. So we will hear Srila Prabhupada speak.
I am reciting some verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the essence of Vedic literature. It is said, Nigama kalpatarur golitam phalamidam. Just like a big tree. What is the essential thing in the big tree? That is the fruit. Suppose a mango tree. What we want from the mango tree? The mango.
So Srila Prabhupada said that the essence of the Vedic literature is Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's Galitam Phalam, it's the mature fruit of the desired tree of the Vedic literature. And so Prabhupada gave quite long lecture at the university, and then there was a question and answer time. And one scholar, I think, asked one very nice, interesting question. And he's addressing Prabhupada as Mahaprabhu. So that's interesting. So we will hear now Prabhupada's, or the scholar's question, and then Prabhupada's answer.
But this particular word, Mahaprabhu, is very materialistic, as you know. In Europe, we always talk about science and technology. The part of the world that you come from, spiritualism has the highest place. I would like to ask you, is there any possible way of a balanced combination between spiritualism and materialism?
Yes. Actually, there is nothing as materialism. Materialism means forgetfulness of God, that's all. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita it is said, materialism means that you are dealing with earth, water, air, fire, ether, or mind, intelligence, so far. These are the subject matters of studying materialism. But God says they are my separated energies. These matters, you have not produced this earth, water, air, fire. That's a fact. That is produced by the energy of God. So, while dealing with material things, if you remember that this material thing is produced by God, then you are perfect. A spiritualist knows that where from this earth has come, where from the water has come, where from this fire has come. Then he is spiritualist. And one does not know, he is ignorant. Actually, that is the fact. But one who is ignorant of the fact, he is materialist. And one who knows the source of this material element, he is spiritualist. That is the difference. Therefore, the conclusion is, one who does not know God, he is materialist. And one knows God, he is spiritualist.
So now, 50 years later, just 4 days ago, we had this program at the Stockholm University. We have Pranava Prabhu here. We would like to thank him so much for arranging this program. And we see a few pictures from this occasion. So I'm just mentioning it now very briefly. So now we go to the 7th of September, next day. So Prabhupada and the devotees went to Uppsala. You see here in the background the Uppsala Cathedral. So we had also Harinam in Uppsala yesterday. And so of course there were program in the morning. Prabhupada continued to speak and read from the 5th canto, chapter 5. So this morning he spoke about, he was like pointing to the altar. You can see here a photo of the altar in the Spånga temple. They didn't have any deities yet. And simple Panchatattva altar or Gauranga altar. And Prabhupada said that don't think these are pictures. Don't think so. They are personally present. And Prabhupada is asking how to realize this. And then he says it's a question of the quality of your devotion, of your service. So he says if your service is not first class, it will take some time. So he said that, and then he actually narrated the story of Shakshi Gopal, how the atheist is thinking this is a stone statue, and how the devotee is thinking here is actually personally the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Satchidananda Swami, I made a film interview with him 2018, and he's speaking about this theme Prabhupada, how he was relating to the altar in the Sponga temple. So we can hear Satchidananda Swami here.
The first memory which I have of Srila Prabhupada in Sweden was in his little temple in Sponga. We all had chanted our japa, and all of a sudden Srila Prabhupada entered the group of chanting devotees, and he paid his full dandavat obeisances with the length of his entire body on the floor to a picture of Panchatattva. Immediately it struck me that for him this were Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Gadadhar, and Advaita Acharya and Srivas Thakur. It was not a picture. It took him a long time to finish his prayers, and then he came out.
So also I have a couple of photos here from, it looks like a Guru Puja. Yes. Prabhupada here is from a slightly another angle. You see more of Prabhupada there. And then after the morning program, breakfast and so on, the devotees went with Srila Prabhupada to Uppsala. 60 kilometers, 45 minutes drive. And actually the Uppsala University has a very long, interesting history. It was founded in February 1477. And that means 9 years before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. And Vegavan Prabhu mentioned Krishna Das. He was instrumental for arranging what I understand the program at the philosophical department in Uppsala. You can see here a couple of pictures from this occasion. Prabhupada was reading from Bhagavad Gita 13.1. Here we see Krishna Das, who was the main person, I think, behind this. So now again, I have taken out 3 short sound clips from this lecture he gave to the scholars, so we can hear Prabhupada speak, and also there are some questions from the scholars. So the first thing is Prabhupada is speaking about what is God. God is a supreme controller. He's not controlled by anyone. So we will hear Prabhupada.
Ishara Parama Krishna. Ishara means controller. God means controller, supreme controller. So that supreme controller means he has nobody else to control him. Here, in this material world, we find one controller. He is controlling, but he is also being controlled. He is not absolute control. Here we find some, say, president. He is controlling the state, but he is also being controlled by popular votes. If the popular votes are against him, he cannot control anymore. In this way, you go on searching out where a person is not only controller, but he is not controlled by anyone. That is God.
So in his lecture, Prabhupada spoke about Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. And one scholar, he had a question about this. So we will hear the question and Srila Prabhupada's
I want to put a question about the relation between Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Paramatma and Brahman.
Brahman.
Which Brahman?
Yeah.
Brahman.
Yeah. The absolute truth is one, but he is realized by different persons differently. Just like there is a big hill. So from very distant place,
you see that hill just like something like cloud. But if you go forward, you see something green. And if you go actually to the hill, you see there are so many trees, so many houses, so many living entities. The object is the same, but realization from different angle of vision is different. That is the description of Srimad Bhagavatam. The absolute truth is called tattva. When I see the hill as a cloud, it is the same hill. When I see the hill as something green, that is the same hill. And when I see the hill, actually, there are so many trees, so many animals, so many men, so many houses, this same hill. Similarly, Brahma, Paramatma and Bhagavan is the same thing. But it appears different according to person's different realization. But ultimately, the absolute truth is Bhagavan.
So it's such a nice explanation Prabhupada gives from this famous verse from Bhagavatam, Vadanti tattvavidas tattvam jat gyadam advayam Brahmiti paramatmiti bhagavaniti shabhyate. So that learned transcendentalist who knows the tattvam, who knows actually the truth, they call it Brahmiti paramatmiti bhagavan iti shabhyate. And so practical, like we can see here in this photo, if you see the hill from a distance, it's very vague. It's like cloudy. If you come, Prabhupada said, if you come a little closer, you see something green like here, but when you come very close, you see the variety. You see the houses, you see the personalities, the animals, the people, everything so clearly. So it's such a nice example. So now there is one more question from one scholar, and I think it's the same scholar. He's curious about what is this personality. Well, one can imagine it's something new for them. They more heard about the impersonal Brahman. So we will hear the question and Srila Prabhupada's answer.
But what is this personality? It is not the same as our personality.
God is also person. Arjuna is also person. And all others who assemble in the battlefield, they are also persons. So Krishna says, all these persons, they are existing in the past. Now they are existing. And in future they will exist. And that is also confirmed. Nitya nityanam chetanas chetananam eka ju bahunam vidudhati kaman. Kathopanishad. That he is the chief person amongst other persons. We living entities, we are many persons. And God is the chief person. And what is the difference between this person and that person, the singular number person one and the plural number person many? That is explained. Eka jo bahunam vidudhati kaman. That one singular number person is supplying all the necessities of these different plural number persons. That is the distinction.
When Upanishads, there is
impersonal description.
The unity is unexpressible.
Unexpressible.
Nothing can be said about.
That just like this is also Upanishad. Nitya nityanam chetana chetananam. So he is a person. Ishavāsamidam sarva. There are so many. In Christian Bible also they believe God creator. So if he is a creator, he must be a person.
So when I spoke with Prito Prabhu, he remembers very clearly that after this lecture to the scholars, there were prasadam distributed. You said the devotees brought pots with hot prasadam, and it was appreciated very much by the scholars. And now on the way from this program to the big program at the hall, student hall in in Uppsala. So Prabhupada asked Ajita Prabhu, what are the Swedish people interested in? And you mentioned it at the university the other day, that Prabhupada said that this, or Ajit explained at this time, people, especially the young generation, were very much into left-wing politics. And so then Prabhupada, as we know, he chose to speak about the Varnashrama Dharma system. And he spoke from Bhagavad Gita 1841, explaining about the 4 divisions of human society, and that according to Bhagavad Gita, it's completely natural, this division. And if we want peace and harmony, we have to accept this. So we will hear now Prabhupada speaking shortly about the different classes of man.
Sri Krishna has explained, Chatur Varnam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhaga. By quality and by work, there must be 4 divisions of the social structure. First class, second class, third class, and fourth class. That is very natural, just like your body, my body, is divided into 4 divisions. So we can understand from our own body, there is head department, there is arms department, there is belly department, and there is the leg department.
So as we know, there was strong opposition, especially from one student. And Prita Prabhu, he spoke about that in Koshnas, on Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Pudya. I found a recording with Prita Prabhu when he speaks about it. It's from a few years back, so you can see.
Prabhupada spoke on the 4 classes of men, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And this was in front of a university crowd, a rowdy crowd of students. So as soon as Prabhupada finished, the students stood up right in front and said, of course you think you're first-class men. Prabhupada lectured first-class, second-class, third-class men, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. You're thinking you're first-class men sitting in a sea of followers covered with flowers, sitting on a high, exalted seat. You think you're first class. It was dead silent in the room. Nobody spoke a word. You could hear a pin falling on the ground. And then Prabhupada said, he was pleading with the man, practically speaking. He said, no, no, no. He said, like this with his hands. He said, no, no, no. I'm not a first-class man. He said, I'm a fifth-class man. And so everybody was shocked. It was dead silent for a little while. And then Prabhupada said, in this deafening silence, he said, because I'm the servant of everyone. And we were just astounded when he said this. And I saw behind us, his lip was quivering, He was deeply, when he spoke it, he knew it was true, that he was a servant of the whole world. And so 2 big tears came behind his spectacles. And that I saw, because I was right there. How he cried when he said this. And it was so clear that he was really the servant of the whole world, that he didn't think much of himself. And he was so humble, that he had so much Shakti on one side, and on the other side, that he was so humble that he considered himself, in fact, fifth class, the servant of everyone, the person who was supporting everybody, serving everybody, giving to everybody, and not expecting anything in return. I thought it was such a sublime display of such a pure devotee of Krishna. It was very moving, and I will never be able to forget it.
So Smita Krishna Swami, he remembers that you and Vaidyanatha Prabhu, you were putting up posters around Uppsala for advertising this program. And one Swedish boy who studied at the university, he saw this poster, and he's now living here in Almviks Gård. We see here Aristaha Prabhu. So he was actually planning to go to his parents, for the weekend. So this is Friday now. He was planning to go to Örebro, to his hometown. You can see here a photo from younger days. And but when he saw that poster at the university, somehow or other he became attracted. He came to the program, and you can see here how he's sitting in front of Srila Prabhupada. We have Aristaha Prabhu here. So a few days after this, I think he called Vegavan Prabhu, and he came to the Spånga temple, and he became engaged in, see here, Harinam in the streets of Stockholm. Aristaha Prabhu here. Here's a photo from outside the Spånga temple with Padmavati, with, I think, Muralidhar, first child. Murali. And here we have Krishna Premi, Smita Krishna Swami, Aristaha Prabhu. We heard about Dvarakesh Prabhu. And what's her name now? Sri Harini? Yes, Sri Harini. So now we go to the 8th of September. It was the day of... Please.
So when Prabhupada said, I'm not first class man, I'm fifth class man, and when he said it with such depth and feeling, like the whole room exploded in applause, and it wasn't just the devotees saying Jai, but it was everyone. They really appreciated what Prabhupada. They got that understanding directly because Prabhupada was really authentic in it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishna Premi. So now, 8th of September, devotees went on Harinam, but first I want to say something short about morning walks with Srila Prabhupada. You can see here some photos, and it was a bit chilly in the mornings, but the temperature rose during the day. There were...
May I interrupt? Could you go back one?
Yes.
Yeah. It was chilly in the morning, but on Rimati Mataji, when she was traveling by herself on the train from Hamburg to Stockholm, then she knitted this white woolen cap, which
I'm coming to that very soon. No problem.
Sorry.
No problem. So it was, like we heard, it was a little chill in the morning, like now, but where it's warming up, such nice weather now, the last days, and so I think it was something similar when Prabhupada was here. And so one of the devotees who were present for the morning walks was, you see here, Satchidananda Swami, and this is now again a short film clip with him when he speaks about his remembrance of the morning walks with Prabhupada.
He went with us on morning walks. During these morning walks, we all tried to be close to him, to hear him speak. But it was not possible for all of us to be at the same time close to him. What I remember is that sometimes Prabhupada would stop and start talking about, he would pick up a theme from nature, from the houses, the things which he saw, and go into Krishna consciousness.
I just remember when I spoke with Prito Prabhu the other day, maybe you can shortly tell the story when Prabhupada heard a dog bark. And could you just shortly tell that story? No. Yes.
Okay, I was on the morning walk, and there was a dog barking. And Prabhupada stopped and said, "You hear this dog?" And I said, "Yes." And then Prabhupada said, our Prime Minister, Nehru, he became a dog in Sweden. And we were kind of shocked when he said that. So later it became explained that Prabhupada actually heard this from a famous astrologer in Calcutta, and he was this was told to him by Sridhar Swami, Sridhar Maharaj, his godbrother. He heard this, and he told it to Prabhupada. And the funny thing is, I mean, this was a very large barking, this dog, wow! You know. It was a German Shepherd. You can hear that. I have had to deal with dogs. And the funny thing is, in Germany, many times a big shepherd is called Nehru, which happened to be the same name of the Prime Minister. So he was obviously attracted by the name Nehru and took birth as Mr. Nehru, the dog, different from previous life being the Prime Minister of India. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. So we see here now Rimati Devidasi sitting and knitting, and she, I can show here a photo of Prabhupada outside the Sponga temple. He has his hat, and she made that on her way to Sweden. She was traveling by train, and she did just what she's doing now. And you want to mention something? Please give the mic to Rimati.
Yeah, there's not much time to tell the whole history about that, but I used to make these hats in Germany and wanted to give it. Somehow I traveled by train. I told the other day the story about that. And I was so worried that Srila Prabhupada would not accept this hat because it was white color. I wanted to get this Angora wool, really soft type of wool to make it for him. And this is the only color I could find from this soft wool. So then I just took my chances and made it in snow white. And according to Shivananda Prabhu, who gave it to Prabhupada because I was too shy, he said he put it on immediately. And then when he went on the morning walk, he buttoned it on the bottom under his chin. And then when they came back, and he buttoned it on the top.
Now, when Rimati arrived here in Sweden, she has presented 3 similar hats, one to our Prabhupada Murti here, one to Koshnas, New Radhakund, to Prabhupada there, and one to Brahmakund in Stockholm. And now she's making a 4th one. Very wonderful. Thank you so much. Hari Hari Bol. So there is also one story around the morning walks that nearby lived a family, and a girl, 14 years old. She saw from her bedroom, I think, the devotees walking, passing by her bedroom window, and she became fascinated, attracted, and she came and visited the temple, and later she became an initiated disciple of Srila Prabhupada. You see here with the name Archa Devidasi. You see her here as a young girl doing arti at the temple, and I can show you here a photo together with her husband, Advaita Acharya Prabhu, who could not come today. It's from Vyasapudya cooking at New Radhakund, Koshnas Gård, with Yogindra Prabhu and Ramanath Sukha Prabhu. So now we go back to the 8th of what happened on the 8th of September. So we said the devotees went for Harinam. You see here. They went on for 2.5 hours, this kirtan in the center of Stockholm. And then they went, the next part of that program that Saturday, we mentioned about the old kårhouse, Gamla kårhuset in Stockholm. And
That's a students' union.
Students' union.
Students' union.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And Vibhishan, I have not, was he invited here?
He also died.
Okay. I just saw it was mentioned in this book, Srila Prabhupada's Disciples in Germany. He remembers when Prabhupada entered Gamla kårhuset, the hall, how, well, everyone was waiting for him to arrive, but spontaneously, he said, everyone was standing up and bowing their heads. So that was just something he remembered. It was completely spontaneous, not like he said in a TV show. You know, sometimes they put on some red light, now you should applaud or something like that, but it was just completely spontaneous. And something very interesting with this Saturday lecture at the Koran was that Prabhupada spoke from Brahma Samhita, which was unusual, very intimate subject matters. He was speaking about the spiritual world, and he actually chanted 9 verses from the Brahma Samhita, and then he spoke. So we will hear Prabhupada speak shortly now from Koran.
Adang Purana Purusang Navajauvanaj. Although he is the oldest of all, you will find Krishna always a young man. From his face you will find a young boy, 22, 25 years. Navajauvanaj. Vedeshu Durlabha. If you want to search out God by studying Vedas, it will be very difficult. Adurlabha Atma Bhakto, but he is very easily available from his devotees.
So Srila Prabhupada said, Adyam Purana Purusham. So although Krishna is the oldest person, so Nava Yovanamcha, he's always like a young boy, 20, 25 years old. That is Krishna. And Vedesha Durlabham, that means it's very difficult to understand him just by studying the Vedas. Actually impossible. But he can Adurlabham Atma Bhakta, by those with devotion, with love, he is easily actually accessible. And then Prabhupada, he continued, he spoke about that Krishna's body is Satchidananda Vigraha. And not only Krishna's body, he spoke about his father, Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda. It's all Chintamani, it's all spiritual. As we see here on the photo, Prabhupada mentioned that his friends are all Satchidananda Vigraha, the gopis, the trees, Kalpavriksha trees, the houses made of Chintamani stones, and like that. So he spoke about the calves and cows and how they are all Chintamani. So he gave a whole description like that. And then in the end, we will now hear Prabhupada again. He said, if you become attached to such a description, if you become attached to that place, you can also go there.
In this way, if you read Brahma Samhita, you'll get complete description of the spiritual world, the spiritual entities, the Supreme Lord, His associates, His country, His pastime, everything very nicely described. And if we become attached to such place, then we can try. We can prepare ourselves for going back to home, back to Godhead. That is the perfection of life. That is the mission of Krishna consciousness movement. Thank you very much. Yes.
So devotees remember it was very nice feast served after. Especially devotees have remembered puris and some nice sweets and cauliflower sabya. Vishnu Tattva. Oh, you remember that? Wonderful. Yes?
That was kind of like simply wonderful, but it was cooked and there was spices in it.
Sure.
Was it fennel?
So wonderful feast.
And I think we cooked a lot.
You cooked puris? Sure. So now we come to the Sunday, 10th of September, and there is one photo here from the morning walk. Srila Prabhupada comes here with Shrutakirti Prabhu, and here's Krishna Das and his wife Indrani, and their, I think, son. And Hamsaduta. Yes, Hamsaduta is also there. I also want to mention something about what I have heard about prasadam for Prabhupada this week. And Prabhupada he expressed that we should use what we have ourselves. We should eat what is growing locally. And so there were apple trees, pear trees, and Krishna Premi told a story. Maybe you can just mention it quickly, how about when you were picking apples, Prabhupada was at the balcony.
Yes, Prabhupada was sitting out on the top floor balcony where his room was, and he had no shirt on, and it was September, so everyone was amazed that it was so warm, and everyone was saying, "How is it so warm? Prabhupada must have brought the warmth with him. There's no way it's this warm normally." So he was enjoying, and I think it was me and someone else went out to pick fruit. I'm pretty sure it was apple from a tree out in front. Or maybe Ajita remembers, was it a pear tree or apple tree? A pear tree, okay. Oh, well, we went out to pick pears. And Prabhupada just was looking down at us, picking them. And he said, you know, if you pick them straight from the tree, you can just accept it straight from the tree. You don't actually have to offer it. And I was quite surprised because we offered everything, you know. But it was like, no, this is. He didn't say any more, but I got the understanding that this is coming directly from a gift from the tree, that is a gift from Krishna, and so it's like we can take it. There's no sort of middlemen in between or anything. So that was very nice. That Prabhupada gave us that special. Instruction.
Thank you very much. So also you see here lingonberries on the right side, and they served Prabhupada a bowl of lingonberry, and he ate that Also something about that Prabhupada got his massage because of the warm weather. They were, you see the balcony up here? What I understand, he was sitting there, and Ajit Prabhu, you remember?
Yeah, well, no, I remember that he got his massage up there. And
Yeah.
Nice and sunny weather.
Okay.
I wasn't the one who gave the massage. Vegavan did. Yeah.
Oh, you gave him massage up there on the balcony?
Yeah.
Oh.
And you asked me the other day whether Prabhupada got the massage in the back of the temple, and I told you no, it's up on the balcony there. Remember that?
Yes.
And I just got it confirmed by Pritu just a few minutes ago that yes, Prabhupada used to take it.
I saw it from the garden.
Yeah. So he was there, he got a massage, and we saw him and we did it.
Thank you. So now it's still Sunday, and they had a second program at Kårhuset. So this program had a special subject, like lecture title, The Guru and Spiritual Life. And then Prabhupada chose to speak from Shisha Gurashtakam, explaining the different verses. The 8 prayers of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, describing the qualities and activities of the Guru. And Prabhupada, he first spoke about samsara, and he said actually we are going, transmigrating from body to body, not only from life to life, but it's taking place right now. So he gave that example that like now we all had baby bodies just a few years ago. So now we have step by step going from baby body, we see here, to childhood, youth, and so on, step by step, to old age. So Prabhupada explained that very clearly. So that's samsara. And then he compared it with Davanala. It's like, he said, it's like a forest fire. And why? Because we are forced to accept unhappiness. That's why it's compared to a forest fire. So we will hear Prabhupada now speak shortly about this.
That is compared with Davana. Davana means forest fire. In the forest, nobody goes to set fire, but it takes place. Everyone knows it. Similarly, within this material world, nobody wants to be unhappy. Everyone is trying to be very happy. But he is forced to accept unhappiness. This is the position. Therefore it is called Davana.
So now we come to Monday, the last full day, 10th of September. And Srila Prabhupada, he gave a program at Sigtuna Stiftelsen, Sigtuna Foundation. Vegavan Prabhu, he actually met the director of Sigtuna Stiftelsen, I think, on Harinam in Stockholm. And you connected with him and you had a nice talk. I think his name was Ulf Söderlind. Yes. And then there was arranged that Prabhupada could come to Sigtuna Stiftelsen to speak. Is that correct?
He sent an invitation. When we spoke about it, he wanted to see Srila Prabhupada there. Thank you. And I think Krishna Das did the actual negotiation with Sigtuna Stiftelsen after that. But can I just go back one day?
Please.
And when in the old student union, when Prabhupada was there, what happened was that actually the summer had been wonderful. The whole summer was warm, really surprisingly well, nice. But we were on the streets every day. chanting and distributing the books that we had, the little Krishna, the source of all pleasure. And with us on the street were a lot of people collecting money. There was the Christian groups, there was the alcoholics, the drunkards. They were there collecting money for their wine. And we used to have two people coming, and there were two jokers. One was tall and one was short. Very, very joking. And as it is sometimes with people who are subject to, addiction, they can turn in a minute or a second from happiness to aggressiveness. So they started off being aggressive towards us. But we used to talk to them every day. I used to talk to them every day. And finally, we had a very nice relationship. So I invited them to come to the student union to hear Srila Prabhupada. And they did. I was quite surprised to see, but they did. And then Prabhupada lectured on the point of how do we see Krishna, as you mentioned. And one of the similes, metaphors that Prabhupada gave was that, even a drunkard sees Krishna is taste of wine. And they loved that. They talked about it for days and days afterwards. Krishna is, exactly. So, that's, I guess.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. So they went by car to Sigtuna Stiftelsen, and you see here Spånga Temple, and so Sigtuna Stiftelsen was founded 1915. Prabhupada spoke from Bhagavad Gita, you see here, 7th chapter, text 1 to 3. And we were there the other day. Here's actually the exact room where Prabhupada gave his lecture. I took these photos just the other day. And I have a short sound clip also from his lecture at this very room. We can hear Prabhupada again speak.
You may improve the material condition of life, but you cannot live here. Just like you are constructed, very nice city, Stockholm. That is very good, but he'll not be allowed to stay here. He'll be kicked out at any moment. What is the solution for that? You construct a nice place, that's all right, very good. But you stay here, but you cannot stay. That is your problem. If you can solve that problem, yes, I have constructed a nice place, nice city, nice country, and everything is nice, but I will stay and enjoy. But that is not allowed. Then where is your perfection?
Here's a photo from the other day when Yogindra Prabhu arranged this very nice program. We see here also Nitai Das, who you see him speaking here about his life, and Walter Eidlitz. Very interesting subject matter. So there was Yogindra Prabhu arranged for this meeting. And so the next, we can say, last program Prabhupada had was he went back from Sigtuna to the Spånga Temple, and then he met the psychiatrist, Dr. Christian Hauser. You see him here. There is a photo of Christian Hauser. And they had a very nice, very interesting conversation. I just took out a very short sound clip from their conversation. It's the last now sound clip when we hear Prabhupada.
You as a psychiatrist, you know very well. Every man is more or less a madman. Anyone who is infected with this material energy, he is just like a man ghostly haunted. You have any experience of ghostly haunted man?
Oh yes, but that's very often a symptom of a psychosis, that they feel they are persecuted by foreign powers or by...
Yes. So this is called ghostly haunted.
Mm.
Our material conception of life, this is also ghostly haunted. Madness. I am Christian, I am Hindu, I am Muslim, I am Englishman, I am German. These are all conceptions of ghostly haunted. Because spirit soul is pure. The spirit soul has no connection with such designations.
So now, the last morning, 11th of September, Srila Prabhupada, he made his morning walk early, I think around 6 o'clock, and then the devotees, at least many devotees, accompanied him after this walk to the Arlanda airport. So Prabhupada left, he was leaving for going to London. Now, just like ending this presentation, I want to show you a letter that Prabhupada wrote to Ajita Prabhu 7 months after this visit to Sweden. He had received the book, you can see here, Swedish publication, the second publication in Swedish, Krishna Medvetande, det högsta yogasystemet, Krishna Consciousness, the topmost yoga system. And he was very pleased with that. And he wrote to Ajita Prabhu, I think a very inspiring, wonderful letter. So I can show you here the original letter, and I can read what Prabhupada writes. My dear Ajit, please accept my blessings. I beg to knowledge received of your letter along with a new publication in Swedish of my work, Krishna Consciousness, the topmost yoga system. Of course, I cannot read Swedish, but looking through this book has given me unlimited bliss. After all, this is my prime duty to publish books on Krishna consciousness. The printing of the book appears excellent, and that you are profusely distributing the book all over Sweden is a crowning success of our moment. We will conquer Europe with these books. I can only thank you again and again in sincere gratitude for producing this literature, and pray to Krishna to bless you with all spiritual advancement. I'm planning to go to Paris, France in the second week of May. And while I'm there, I can also visit you in Stockholm. Let me know if you can arrange a meeting at the university for that time, and then I should be able to go and join you in spreading Krishna consciousness to the people of Sweden. Hope this meets you in good health. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. So I just think it's so wonderful how to see Prabhupada's enthusiasm for coming. He says, I want to come and join you, and spreading Krishna consciousness to the people in Sweden.
Maybe it's out of place now, but I remember when one time we were walking down the stairs with Srila Prabhupada. I was right behind him. And Vegavan and Ajita were waiting for Prabhupada down there. And when Prabhupada reached him, he said, so how is my godbrother? I mean, he obviously was referring to Sadananda. And then they said something, I don't remember what they said, but at least said, yes, he was ruined by his health.
Ruined by his health?
Yes.
Okay.
I still remember that one. This one in the temple where Prabhupada was visiting. I don't remember the name now of the place, what it was. Sponga, yeah, in Sponga.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Panchatattva ki jai, Gaura Bhaktarinda ki.
Thank you, Mukunda Prabhu. Very nice presentation. I think we all need a little break, so we will take a 10-minute break, and then we will continue with Vegavan and Ajita.
Hare Krishna. Yes, just to continue what Prahlad was saying, that we do want participation. And this is the way philosophy has been discussed since time immemorial. We all know that the Greek philosophers did not sit in classrooms, they walked and discussed. And that I have personal experience of, and we have experience with Srila Prabhupada doing the same thing. Seeing this slideshow just brings back so many memories. Memories of devotees and memories of Srila Prabhupada. And the last 5-6 days now, I've been thinking about, actually, Brahma Murta Prabhu asked me the other day in Krishna's, when you see all these things, he happened to call me, you weren't there, but he happened to call me the father of everyone that were there. And I didn't know if he was rude or if he was actually referring to something higher. And he said, what do you feel when you see them all? And I thought, and I had to think how to put that in words. He went on, so I didn't quite have time to respond. But I felt proud. I felt really proud. This is something extraordinary that we see, especially in view of how it started. I'm not sure that you know, some of you would know, but we started in a, couldn't be a more humbler way, in a tent, in a camping ground. Ajita and Krishna Premi had gone a little ahead of us. We were in Germany, and Ajita and Krishna Premi came down. I was trained up. I was traveling with Havardhana, the one we talked about. Simply Vishnu Tata, was it? The specialist, yes. Anyway, I traveled with him, distributing books in Germany without speaking very much German. I felt very much uncultured, not speaking the language so well. So when we were ready to go to Sweden, I felt relief. I can now explain myself, who I am and what I'm doing here. Ajita had been there a few weeks before, and broken the grounds, had a first Harinam with Krishna Premi, and so when they came to Germany, we went together back to Sweden, and we had no place to stay, of course. So, but we did have opportunity to get a tent. Was it from your parents?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah. So we got a tent, and we started going into Stockholm City for the Harinam and distribution of the little booklet, Krishna Reservoir of Pleasure. And then we returned each night to the camping ground, and we had the help of a brahmachari, English brahmachari, who was in Germany, called Narendra, and we saw him in the picture there.
What time of year was it?
Sorry?
What time of year was it?
This was in July.
We arrived in the beginning of June. Yeah.
Oh, So it was in June.
Yeah, it was in June.
You know, I always thought it was the 1st of June, and you told me no, it's later.
No, it was probably the 1st of June.
Oh, yeah. So I was right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, but what year? 72?
73. The same year as Prabhupada came here.
Yeah.
Just a few months before.
But sorry, you all came to Hamburg Temple in late 1973?
In May 73. We came to...
That was May 73?
Yeah. First Hamburg and then Heidelberg.
Yeah.
And from Heidelberg, there was a base when we were out on Sankirtan. We were traveling around for 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
In Germany to collect funds for our mission in Sweden. Right.
She always sings very movingly. Yes. I don't know now, but I haven't heard you sing. I've seen you cry, but I haven't seen you sing. Oh, okay. Anyhow, so we stayed in that camping ground. Narendra was sleeping in the car, and we were in the tent. And so we used to come in every day and do book distribution in Harinam. And that's where I met these two drunk gentlemen who attended Prabhupada's lecture, loved evidently they spoke English very well, so they understood the taste of wine was Krishna. And so they actually turned towards the end, instead of coming to us in the beginning to ask for money for, buy some more wine, they started giving us money. They collected money and gave to Krishna. So that was the humble beginning, and then we've seen how the progression went from Spånga Temple, from the tent to Spånga Temple. We also stayed a while in student rooms in Uppsala.
Right.
Yeah. So it was like a nomadic existence. Anything you want to say there?
Yeah, one thing, and like Krishna Prem and we came in April first to Sweden, and then we went down to Germany in May. And during that time when we were in Germany, this book, Krishna, the Reservoir of Pleasure, had been printed in Germany and sent to my parents' house in Sweden. And it was 32,000 copies that came in a truck to my parents' house. And they were completely amazed. Well, what are they going to do with all these books? So they had to empty their storage and everything, and all these boxes of books they had to fill. And we were not there. We were in Germany at the time. So when we came back to Sweden, we had to this. The books had been delivered.
Yeah. Our experience with... Sorry?
There was Smita Krishna Maharaj and myself. We'd done different parts of it.
And not with the Swedish letters? Or was an A with a handmade circle above it?
Yeah.
It didn't look the best. The book was nice, though.
And your parents were so accommodating.
Yeah, they were very tolerant and accommodating. That was a base, actually, in the beginning. When we went out we came back to my parents' place, and then we went out and lived in tents, and he came back to gather books and stay there for some time. During about a month and a half. In July, we rented a house in Spånga.
But you had a tulasi there in Västerås.
Yeah. We actually planted tulasi in April when we came there, and seeds, and then my mother took care of them when we were down in Germany. So when we came back from Germany, they were quite big already. They had grown very well.
Do you remember where the seeds came from?
India.
Well, your parents were always accommodating.
Yeah.
We stayed there so many times, passing through, and so many times. eating them practically out of the house. You know, I remember your mother wasn't very aware how we could eat. And yogurt, and then usually in Swedish houses they take 1 or 2 tablespoons of muesli. Well, we finished the whole thing, and so they were quite amazed at the amounts we could eat. Yeah, so that's how it happened, how it started, and we used to be on the street every day in front of the bank, which was made our bank, and they saw us come in every day and deposit money very diligently. And I was actually, Padmavati was asking me that day, how could you get such a nice house in Spånga as you saw with no money, and no one had a job? How is it possible? And I don't know the answer to that question, except that the man was quite positive, wasn't he?
At the bank?
No, at the one renting us the house.
Yeah. He needed to rent out the house because he was bankrupt, and he couldn't stay there, so he had to get a cheaper place and rent the house to us. That was the thing. He had a company, but gone bankrupt, and he didn't. Yeah, konkurs. Vad heter det?
Bankrupt.
No, it's bankrupt. Yeah, okay. So he rented a cheaper house for himself and his family, and so we could rent that house.
Yeah, still amazing how he allowed us. But then we're dealing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so anything is possible, and we learned that from Prabhupada. Prabhupada's personal example of everything is possible. But I'm thinking later, actually, when we're going to get Krishna's Gård. If I remember rightly, we had 12,000 crowns in the bank at that time. And it's quite daring to go and ask for a million and something for a loan. And one of the reasons was because we developed crown by crown practically every day going in to deposit that money. They saw that there was continuancy here. And then we developed a good relationship with the bank. So they had some belief in us. You have some more there?
Not really, no.
Okay. Yeah. But it was... Sorry?
How about Prabhujak's father?
Well, Prabhujak's father, he was a surveyor. And as a surveyor, you have a lot of contacts with people in the real estate, both the shady ones and the not so shady ones. And he happened to know the person that, it's a long story. Krishna's Gård used to be a prime place to go for a weekend for Stockholmers, because there used to be like a cafeteria, art, all sorts of things going on. It was like a cultural place, and very nice grass and people visit. Then it was bought by a like we call them in Swedish, a torpedo from Mr. X. Mr. X was a mafia man, and he had a man that was doing all the dirty work for him, and he had bought Krishna's. Unfortunately for him, he was, as far as we got to know, ordered to commit suicide, or else someone else would do it to him. So he did that in Krishna's. Yeah. But the person with most of the money left in the, what would you say? Who provided the loan wasn't just the bank, it was a real estater, if you call him that. So we got to know him through Prabhujak's father. And it was quite a scene. We went to meet him to discuss this project, and Ajita and myself came in wigs, reasonably good wigs, I thought. And we sat down in the Grand Hotel, the most expensive hotel in Stockholm. He invited us there, and we discussed the conditions. He liked us. He liked us, fortunately. And so we started discussing how to do this. And it was decided that we should sign at Krishna School. We're going to put the final signature on the loan and everything.
Sorry? This is 77.
77.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah. And I remember walking up towards Kosnes from the road up there first time and thinking, oh my God, this is perfect. This is heaven, but how are we going to afford it? How are we going to pay for it? Anyway, we assembled there, and together with a lawyer, and we sat down to read the conditions, and at the very crucial moment, a very gross man rushes into the room and says, "I'll buy it. I'll pay cash, for it." And I thought, oh my God.
And it was 450,000 more than we had offered.
Yes, he offered. So I thought, we're done. And but it turns out that the man that we've been cultivating, Mr. Bolin, he really disliked this brutish man coming in, who was the owner of a big restaurant in Södertälje. So he didn't take that offer of cash and 50% more money. So we signed.
So these guys.
Sorry.
So these guys should have it, he says.
Yes.
Okay. And he said, for this I get points in heaven.
He did. And they continued to be friends until he left his body.
I would like to say some things about this occasion and thank everybody who has arranged all these commemorations. I mean, for Jubilee, and also I've been thinking about how the mission has developed over the years, because it was very dynamic for a period of time when we got Koshnas, and up till the beginning of the 80s, so many devotees joined. And it was a very dynamic period. And but what has the extraordinary thing that has happened, it has also to do with how this tradition has become respected and well known, especially in the academic field and people, which was shown by the workshop that Pranava had arranged in Stockholm at the same place and same time. 50 years later at Stockholm University, when scholars from all over the world, from India and the US, came to speak about Vaishnava philosophy and about the significance philosophically and also historically, what has actually happened. Because before Prabhupada, there was nobody hardly at any Indology departments or religious studies departments who were interested in Hindu theism or Vaishnava philosophy. But now it's well known all over the world, and it has some impact on that level. And I feel very enthused by this, because when I joined the Hare Krishna movement, it was specifically the philosophy that attracted me. I thought it was a little too much to shave a head and dress like that, but that was part of the whole thing, and go out in the streets. But it was specifically this tradition that attracted me very much. And actually, before I left Sweden in the aid of, together with Vegavan, we both studied philosophy at the philosophical department in Uppsala. And we went there, I remember, to ask if they had any books on Indian philosophy. And they didn't have any books. So they asked us, can you recommend some? At the library at the philosophical department in Sweden. Of course, Indian philosophy wasn't considered philosophy. Actually, philosophy is a Western thing. It started with Plato and Aristotle, and then, and then I thought when we left, I want to come back here and teach them what philosophy really is. So it was such a nice thing that we had Prabhupada came to the philosophical department and spoke on the 13th chapter on the Bhagavad Gita. Quite a few years later, it was not so many, maybe 5 years later, because we left 68, 69, 4 or 5 years later. And how this the ISKCON has been sometimes going very well, sometimes not so well over the years. But when it comes to the knowledge of this tradition and how it's been spread and known all over the world, that is amazing, and it's all due to Srila Prabhupada. Actually, that all this has happened.
In this regard, I'm wondering, when you first came, there was, as we heard, a very secular, to put it euphemistically, atmosphere here in Sweden. But at the same time, there was a lot of interest. For example, Ulf Söderlind at Sigtuna Stiftelse, the director, this foundation, a very prestigious Christian foundation. He approached Vegavan on the street when he recognized that this is from the Gaudiya Vaishnava line, which he had become familiar with. So how does this dichotomy go together, that they were very much against and at the same time? You understand?
Typically Sweden.
Yeah. But even if it's the dominating atmosphere in media and the politics and everything was of course very secular and very, in a sense, atheistic, because we had a famous philosopher in the 40s, 50s called Ingmar Hedenius, who was very prominent. He criticized that the theological department at university shouldn't be there. It's not science. It shouldn't be. So he wrote a book called Truth and Belief, where he criticized Christianity very much. And there is a saying about what you call him. There is no God, and Ingmar Hedenius is his prophet. So he and other culture persons had such a strong influence in Sweden that religion was not discussed very much on the broad cultural scale. But of course, there were always Christians, and there were always institutions like Sigtuna Stiftelse and all these things. So it doesn't mean that it didn't exist, because it did, and they were very open to dialogue. Especially the Sigtuna Foundation. So that was, they were interested in dialogue with other traditions. And this goes back to Nathan Söderblom, who was Archbishop of Sweden in the beginning of the 20th century. And he was very open to dialogue. So within the religious sphere, there's been quite in the Christian Swedish church, they've been very open to dialogue with other traditions. And this way also, Vegavan and myself, caught on to, and we were very much engaged in those kinds of activities when we were here doing the movement.
Yes, I mean the media was one thing. As we heard Ajita give a lecture the other day, Stockholm University, the media was saturated with Marxist ideas, or even more revolutionary ideas. But people in general, if they had one good thing, it was that they were kind. And therefore our reception on the street, for example, was usually, we were well received in speaking to people. And so that was good. And we had decided, because we had been in Germany distributing books previously coming here, and we had talked about it, we're not going to be like in Germany. We wanted to do this. We wanted to try and do it in a way. We were not confronting people. We wanted to include people. We wanted to, as Ajit said, we arranged symposiums with scholars, with authors, with bishops, and so we had a lot of dealings with people on platforms that were rather important also. And we attended other organizations in their meetings, just to give us a good foundation to stand on, to work from. And that was on the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, actually. He told us to come here and preach to the intelligent people. And so that's what we decided to do. And I mean, I found it, in those days, of course, we dressed in dhoti and kurta, traditional, and there was no difficulty seeing people, whether it be a bishop or a leader of a huge company or something, because they couldn't figure you out by looking at you. And usually they look at your hair and your clothes. What sort of person are you? Here we come with no hair and different types of clothes. So they were listening more than usual to us, and it worked very well for some time.
Mukunda Prabhu mentioned that in Sponga there was the 14-year-old Osa who saw you wandering in the neighborhood there all together with Prabhupada, like we saw in the pictures. Now, how was it with the neighbors there in this Stockholm suburb with this invasion, or not called invasions, you know what I mean?
Particularly one neighbor wasn't very much interested or impressed by us. Do you want to tell the story?
Well, yeah, but I was temple president when this happened, and all these devotees came from Germany, and we had this, and they had, I was about up to 8-10 VW vans or something that parked outside on the street in front of all these houses, and and all these people, and it was, not only these neighbors, but many of the neighbors were a little shocked, I think, with all these people in a very quiet suburb to Stockholm, and I can't understand how we managed to. Everyone stayed and slept. It was about 60 people in that house.
Yeah, I can't believe it either.
We had a garage. On the garage, we put these masonry things so they on the cement floor, so that people could sleep there. So because it was so many devotees. But anyway, these neighbors, they were actually Pentecost Christians, and they complained very much, and they had complained before this also when we had arti and things for the sound and everything, and also even the health department came to register how much in sound it gave when we were giving kirtans. Remember that? Pardon?
Pingstänner, yeah.
Pingstänner, yeah, right. So, and they wrote and the media was there, and they said, not only the sound, but to be always surrounded by people who are so strange. It gives me and my wife such, we feel bad, psychologically about it. So they were really upset.
Did they count the shoes? How many shoes?
Count the shoes? I have no idea what they did. Really?
We were in this house, and the architect of the house was living across the street or something. And they were actually picketing, and they were counting all the shoes. It was like 50, 60 pairs of shoes here. How do they all fit in? They're all taking showers and garden hose.
Even we are surprised. So what to speak of them? Yeah. Apart from that, didn't hear much from the other neighbors.
No, some neighbors were very kind, actually. So, yeah. So
there hasn't been a. It's going to raise a card or something. Oh, you're raising the card. Okay. Sorry.
Directly after Spånga, or was Grevgatan in between, or was that the same time, or?
Grevgatan came after Spånga. Yeah. And that's a long story too.
Yeah. I think it was we stayed in Spånga from July 73 till January 75. Then we got Grevgatan.
Yeah.
And then Korsnäs 77. And Almviks 81.
I think Vajinath was asking you a question in the at the university lecture.
Yeah.
You're saying that there were 200 devotees in Sweden?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure whether this was already in the 70s or already in the 80s, but it must have been in the 70s because I left Sweden in 79. So there were 200 devotees at the end in Sweden and no more than that in Germany. So that was what I remember. So there but Germany has 80 million inhabitants and Sweden only 10 million.
But we never had 200.
No.
No?
No.
No.
Then must be maybe.
I think we were about in the end of 70s, beginning of 80s. We were maybe about 100. I think.
100
and then we were maybe some temples, other towns
in Norway and Denmark and Finland. So 125 altogether. We were at that time. Yeah. But it was a lot for being a small populace like that. 8, 9 million, wherever we were at the time. So in Sweden, so we did well.
In 76, when you finally recommended me for initiation, you kind of lamented in the letter to Prabhupada that there are devotees coming, joining, but they're not the Swedes.
Yeah. But I'm always moaning and groaning.
But Prabhupada wrote back and said that, well, it doesn't matter, at least they're coming.
Yeah, well, when we actually got Korsnäs, and that's when we started getting Swedes. It was interesting because we had to go. You remember very well when we got Korsnäs. Yes, Yogindra did the most daring thing. I'm telling a story, glorifying Yogindra here. He had a chain. What do you call them? Saw? Yeah. And he had to open up to make the deities room. And my goodness, it was scary to watch. With the same intensity like you do everything else. It was, you attack that wall, standing on a flimsy ladder, and managed to open up this huge hole.
And look, 10 fingers still.
Yeah, but there's something missing in here. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
All right. I think our time is up.
Yes. There's been a show. You're supposed to show a car, but you didn't.
Yeah, he has done it twice now.
Oh. All right. So that was it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.